Good evening, everybody. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV. And before we get into tonight's show, if you do like what you see, please do smash that like. It does help the channel up the search. So please do give it a like. That'd be absolutely fantastic. And it means new viewers find it more easily. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then come and smash the subscribe. Come be part of this great community we have here. It is free to do so. And hitting that bell notification. That also tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows as well. Also, if you want to make a donation, you can do that in chat by clicking the $sign. And if you want to become a member, you can do that by clicking the join button also as well. Right, let's get into some comments before we start tonight's show. Bia says, IFAB need to fix what's broken. Handball rule, not what isn't. Overpaid suits just trying to justify their jobs. This is a circus. Yeah, we're going to get into all that, mate. Hi, Tony. I don't get the blue card, says Holly. Yeah, well, I don't think we all do at the moment, but we'll have a look into it. David says, hi, Tony. How's you, mate? Yeah, I'm absolutely fine, mate. Absolutely fine. I haven't been out for a few days. I've just had a busy few days, that's all. But evening, Tony, you're late, but I'm giving you the blue card. Oh, thanks, Ian. Thanks. Hope you're well, mate. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Julie. Hope you're well. Hi, gang, says Gary. Hi to you, Gary. Hope you're well too, mate. Tony is too busy showing Granny the pink. Oh, Jesus. Gary says, I'm still not over that Luton game. When I think about it, get a headache, literally. Yeah. Paul Gardner says, evening, everyone. Good evening to you, Paul. Hope you're well. Lee says, evening, Tony. How are you all keeping? Yeah, absolutely fine, mate. I'm absolutely fine. So, yeah, I mean, look, we've seen different things coming out of late, haven't we? You know, different. It's just, yeah, there's all sorts coming out. I mean, look, you've got the PSR rules. There's looking at changing that. There's now things about this blue card. You know, what's this blue card all about? And is it going to be a, you know, is it going to be a help? Is it going to be a hindrance? Is it going to be something great? Or is it going to be something that we don't need in the game? So, you know, we will have a look and we will talk about it and read what they say about this blue card, because I saw it earlier on, and it's a bit like a sin bin sort of thing. You get this blue card, don't you, and you go off the pitch for 10 minutes, and whether it's a good thing or not, I'm not so sure. But anyway, look, we'll have a look at it and see what they say, and we'll see if it is any good, if it could be good for the game, or if it's total nonsense. A lot of people will probably have to saying it's nonsense. I mean, look, I say keep it as it is with the yellow cards and red cards. It's been like that for ever, so why change something why fix something that's not broken? You know, I mean, look, if they're set to introduce this, but the FA will consider trialing this in sin bins in the FA Cup and the Women's FA Cup next season. So it's not going to be in the Premier League next season, but it is going to be possibly in the FA Cup. So what it is, and when they do that trials for this, the International Football Association Board have published this. So what it is they will, if they send players off with a blue card, they have to do 10 minutes for dissent or cynical fouls. That's what it is down to. 2 blue cards would result in the player's dismissal for the rest of the match, as would a blue and a yellow card. So it's a bit strange, isn't it? You know, I really don't get it, to be fair. That IFAB is set to give the go-ahead for the extended sin bin trials in senior levels of the game at its annual meeting in March. There's already been trials in youth football and in England and Wales, and the sports lawmaking body agreed in November that they should be implemented at higher levels of football. Look, if I'm honest with you, I don't see the point in changing it, if I'm honest. You know, so if you get 2 blue cards, you miss the rest of the game. It's like 2 yellows and you're off, isn't it? So I don't get it. I really think keep it as it is with the yellow in red cards. As I said, why fix something that's not broken? Because what you're going to have is, what if somebody just, so for instance, if somebody throws the ball away, is that an automatic blue card and you're off for 10 minutes? And to be fair, I can't see why you would do that. It's just going to spoil the game as far as I'm concerned, because look, if you kick the ball away or throw it away in anger and you get a blue card, but then again, then somebody has dissent. So say, for instance, I'm not picking on any player, but say, for instance, Anthony Gordon decides he's not happy giving a free kick or whatever, and he doesn't think it's a free kick, and he throws the ball in disgust and he gets a blue card and he has to spend 10 minutes. Then say you've got Joe Linton going up to the referee, giving him a bit of verbals, and the referee gives him a blue card. We're then down to 9 men for 10 minutes. I think it'll spoil the game. I really do. I think it will spoil the game. I just think keep it as it is. Why do we need this blue card? The yellow card's there for a reason. Book people for dissent. The red card's there, send people off. It's always worked that way. And look, let's just keep it the way it was. It's better that way. I know things I know they want to change things, but if I'm honest, I don't think changing things like that's for the better. I think it could be for the worse, if I'm honest. I don't know what you think in the chat. Are you for the blue card? I might even pop a poll in there for you, and that would be a better way of gauging whether a blue card should be in the game or should it not be in the game. So what I'll do is I'm going to pop a poll in the chat there for you. And what I'll do is, so I'll put, would you like to see the blue card in the game? Right, so I'm popping that in now. So you got yes and no. So there you go, guys. Get yourselves voting in that. And what we'll do is at the end, towards the end of the show, we'll have a look at the poll results. But we'll have a look during the show as well and see how much it's fluctuating. See how many people are for it and how many people are against it. I gather there'll be a lot of people against it. If they bring it in, there is nothing we can do. They're obviously going to bring it in for the FA Cup next season. So there's nothing we're going to be able to do about that if it's in the FA Cup. But I think it could hurt a lot of these smaller clubs. Look how far Maidstone have gotten in the FA Cup. Now, what happens if a team like Maidstone, who are, say, from the 6th tier of English football, one of their players goes up and disagrees with the referee and he gets a blue card? That could spoil the game totally. They could end up losing the game through that. And I just don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. Yes, I know they have it in rugby and it works in rugby, but that's a totally different sport to football. So there's better ways of doing things, but it obviously somebody's just sat there, or maybe they've sat in a pub one night and they've taught their friends and said, how can we? Oh, and somebody's probably said, why don't we have a blue card? Well, because didn't they say originally it was going to be an orange card? Now it's gone to a blue card. So I really don't get it. I'm going to get into some comments and see what people have said in the chat, because obviously people have probably had their say on this already. But this is, like I say, come from the International Football Association Board. And I just want to see what people have to say. Wayne says hi, Tony Noel. Hi to you, Wayne. I hope you're well, my friend. Gary says, one good thing, Barnes looks sensational again, doesn't he? Doesn't he just, yeah. Being away well. Nice to see you back, Wayne. Blue cards are fast, says Ian. Yeah, totally agree. Lee says, what a load of crap. What about the blue card football getting daft? It could end up seeing 3 or 4 players in it. That's what I'm saying, Lee. You know, it'll just end up spoiling the game. And I just think you don't need it. Sin bins are for kids' games for them to learn the game. Mrs. behaves. I mean, look, yeah, you know, isn't the blue card for free parking law? Yeah, absolutely. Ginger says, did you see Matty's latest vid about the stadium copying the Real Madrid transformation? I haven't seen his video yet, Ginger. I will check it out, but I have heard things about it. I mean, look, if I'm honest, I would love to stay at St James's Park. But because I want to stay in the city centre, because those businesses in the city centre rely on the match day revenue. And if all of a sudden we built a new stadium out of town, outside the city, they're going to lose thousands on a match day. So I think it's important we stay in the city. As I said on Chris's show the other night, the American Magpie, I said, look, it's a shame that in a way, if we wanted to totally just knock down St James's Park and rebuild it from scratch, if we had to turn the pitch or whatever it was, but to rebuild it from scratch, if the arena hadn't been sold for housing, then maybe we could have had that land, and maybe what you could have done was you could have had one of those temporary stadiums like what they had back in Qatar in the World Cup. You could build one of them up, have that there. Then as soon as St James's Park's ready, you just move into there. That one be dismantled and it can be moved elsewhere to whoever else. But, so yeah, it's absolutely a shame. Hi, Tony, hope you're well. Yeah, I am. Cheers, David. Thanks very much, mate. Billy says, prefer a blue movie. Wayne says, blue card won't work. Guarantee. Freaking ruin football. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I totally agree. 2 yellows and you're on your bike and off, says Jan. Absolutely, Jan. Evening, Tony and all. Good evening to you, Tony Ross. Chris is in the chat, Magpies. Evening, Chris. Hope you're well. If you haven't seen Chris's channel, go and give his channel a watch out. I'm actually on there a bit later on as well. Gary says we need an orange card too for when they're not sure if it's a red or a yellow. Honestly, Gary, don't even get me started on that. Derek's in the chat. Hi, Derek. Hope you're well, my friend. He says more PGML or MOL bollocks. Let's get VAR sorted. Yeah, do you know what it is, Derek? You're absolutely fantastically right there. I mean, look, they're on about changing the VAR. They're saying there's too many long decisions. One of the worst decisions that take the longest, is the offside rule. Now, back in the summer, clubs could have had the semi-automated system in, the semi-automatic offside system in. But obviously the Big Six didn't want it in. Now, we've seen this semi-automatic system in the Champions League. Now, I thought that worked really well and it looked really great. They used it in the World Cup in Qatar and it worked fine. They used it in the Champions League and it's worked absolutely fine. Offside decisions don't take as long to do. It's got to be introduced next season in the Premier League because I think that was absolutely brilliant in the Champions League and I absolutely loved it. Bias says it will encourage teams to sit and waste time when there's a player down. Yeah, you guarantee that's going to happen. David says a blue card's embarrassing. I've not seen anyone agree with it. This is a decision from out of touch people in the power with nothing better to do. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't agree with it either. Wayne says, you know what, Tony? It feels like all these rules are trying to bring in is madness since we've been taken over. Yeah, it does. It seems absolutely ridiculous. Worst idea ever. What about a pink card for players that duck out tackles? How many cards do you want the referee to carry, Gary? Tristan says, Roland Summers, Newcastle have been scouting Scalvini, and there's some two decent players. Scalvini is going to be one of the world's best centre-backs. Yeah. Can't wait for the summer. Bias says, refs can't handle the game now. No. What if you're already on the blue card, sitting on the bench and get another one for dissent on the touchline? You'd get sent off. You wouldn't be able to play. Now, remember last year, we had Jamal Lascelles last season doing that a couple of times, getting yellow cards for keeping the hold of the ball and things like that. Just, so yeah. David says it's going to be 98% no. Derek says surely it should just be 10 minutes off for a first yellow. That way, stop players around the ref if they knew they'd be off for 10 minutes. Yeah, I agree with that, Derek. Don't understand why they're focused on this instead of bettering the current issues. Makes no sense, says Chris. Yeah, I just don't know. It's the International Football Association, and I don't know why they're doing it. It's just like they're trying to bring extra things into the game. But like we say, the main thing that needs sorting out first is the VAR, because that is just ridiculous. Beige card. Tony Ross says, are they trying to turn our game into American football ideology? Well, look, you have sin bins in rugby, but as I say, rugby's a totally different game. And then they're also on about where the captains only from each team can actually ask referees about decisions if they want to. But only certain decisions, by the way. David says, blue card will slow the game down even when it was far. It was getting involved. Red, it was blue. Yeah. No need for it. Yancy says orange would have been more fair. Billy says it won't be long before the game is split into 4 quarters so the advertisers can cram in the adverts. Oh, don't even go there, Billy. Hopefully not. One of the refs will say a foul is cynical, another will say it's not. It's more subjective that it will go wrong. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I've recently just put that poll in. 96% say no to it and 4% say yes. So there is a minority out there who do want it. Bias says the only player who should get the blue card is Wayne Rooney. Oh, God. The refs will need a shoulder bag for all their cards. Yeah, or they'll probably have to wear one of those, those pump bags around the waist. Stack is going to take a lot of revenue anyway. Yeah, definitely, Bia. It is. And that's only going to help the club, isn't it? So it's going to be absolutely brilliant. David says, Tony, do you know if Gordon's fit for Saturday? I've seen reports saying that he may not be fit for Saturday, but he should be okay after that because it's not serious. But just keep him out of Saturday's game. So we've got Harvey Barnes back. What happens if the goalkeeper gets one, says Matt? Do you know what, Matt? That's a very good question. Yeah. What if the goalkeeper one, does he get sent off for 10 minutes? Great question, that, Matt. Especially if he's time wasting as well. Great question. Julie says, blue card ideal for Fernandez and Havertz. Yeah. We need to keep the stadium in the 2, no other option. Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Definitely, mate. Alan says, evening. Good evening to you, Alan. Hope you're well. Tristan says, Tony, from what I saw today on Magpie TV, I did see the company who made the Real Madrid stadium new by refacing it with a future dome. So Newcastle are going to reface St James's and make more seats. Let's hope so, mate. Let's hope so. Gary says foreign players have to get a green card. Gee, yeah. Absolutely. Tristan says, so I can see the big sponsor being on the new design like Real Madrid Stadium, but it took 10 years to make. This is the thing, we've got to get sponsorship. And I've always said this, with these owners, if they said there's going to be a naming rights on the stadium, but they're going to put the name and then say at St James's Park. I ain't got a problem with that, because the difference between these owners and the previous ownership is the previous ownership couldn't care less about changing the name of the stadium because it didn't matter. We weren't investing that money into the club. With these owners, the money that would get from that, if it was say 40 million a season or 50 million a season, whatever it was, mind, it's got to be fair market value for the Premier League. So if we were getting that, say, 50 million a season, but we know that would be reinvested in the club for players, wages, things like that. So that's why I haven't got a problem with it. And as long as I keep the St James's Park name there, I haven't got a problem. So if it was like, say, Aramco at St James's Park, no problems at all. Premier League balls have a deal made for match balls. They've never tested the technology inside night balls, so no semi-automatic tech. Interesting. Lee says, even if we got some of these as park to extend the ground, be even better. Yeah, I mean, look, that's been another thing that's been floated. Maybe move the ground up a bit, take some of Lees's Park and then put Lees's Park behind the Gallagher. Who knows? We need to show IFAB. The red card says beer. This is why FIFA needs competition. It's a monopoly full of bureaucrats making stupid decisions. Yeah, probably done in Switzerland, isn't it? Sort the head, sort the balls out, running VAR. Yeah, absolutely. The head balls, yeah. Gary says, instead of the sin bin, they should make players who dive, etc. sing My Way to the crowd. Gary Douglas says, FFP wants kicking out of football altogether, Tony, mate. Yeah, it does. I mean, look, it's ruining clubs. We've seen what's happened with PSR in the Premier League. It's not really working, is it? You know, the new rules that they're thinking on bringing out would make it like in line with UEFA, where it's like 70%, but some are saying they're trying to get it to like 85%. So maybe that's what they're going to try and do. So basically, whatever the club brings in, then you can spend 70% of that. But also there's a Belgian club that's taking this to court to overturn it altogether, because you remember the last Belgian who went to court to overturn contracts, Bosman. That's how we ended up with the Bosman ruling. So, you know, because he said freedom of contract, freedom of movement rather, after the end of his contract. So the Belgian club that's involved in this one now to try and get rid of FFP, because they're saying it's anti-competitive. And if the Premier League is supposed to be a competitive league and the best league in the world, well, it ain't competitive, because, look, teams like us who have got owners who, you know, it's not like we've got owners who haven't got two halfpennies to rub together. Our owners are very, very rich, as we know. And this is what annoys me with the, you know, people outside of Newcastle who are not Newcastle people, who are, you know, not Newcastle fans, and you get the media doing it, and, you know, and you hear other fans saying, oh, and they'll go, oh, it's great when you see the richest club in the world lose. And you go, hang on a minute, we're not the richest club in the world. And this is what they need to understand. You know, all our fan base know this, but we are not the richest club in the world. We've got the richest owners in the world, but we ain't got the richest club yet. It will get there one day, but it's got to take time to get there. Oh, colourblind, okay, Jan. He says, Master's videos, okay, Tony. Yeah. The bags, raffle where we call the funny bag right in America. It says David. Tristan says to buy Newcastle, making St James's Park more appealing by resurfacing. It will draw people to the stadium. Look at Real Madrid stadium. I think PIF will want us having a super stadium. Let's be honest. Derek says, doesn't matter what they call it, just get the money and it'll be St James's Park. Always, absolutely, Derek. And this is what I'm saying, Derek. The total difference between this ownership and the previous ownership, because I don't like mentioning that man's name, because I call him the Fat Controller, because that's exactly what he is. And look, I could call him far worse, but obviously I don't know if children are watching, so I don't want to, because I get youngsters watching this show as well. But look, the fact is, the Fat Controller changed the name of the stadium from St James's Sports Direct Arena. Didn't incorporate St James's Park in that anyway. But did we see any money from that coming into the club? No, absolutely not. But these owners have always said that it'll be at St James's Park, whatever it is in front, So whatever it is in front of it, that'll incorporate with at St James's Park. So it'll always be St James's Park. All it is you're just going to have a name put there. They're going to have a name attached to the stadium, but they're going to be paying a shitload of money to us. So look, that's what we've got to look at. And I'm all for it. But that's the difference with these owners. They speak to the fans and they ask the fans their opinion. If they got a massive majority of fans saying they don't want it, I don't think they would do it. But I don't think there'll be a lot of fans arguing against it because it's bringing money in. The more money we can generate, the more we can pay on transfers and wages. FFP stands for Football Players Now. Tony Piff are going to build up these, making, let's say, glass so it doesn't block the sun over the new building, over the Navy building. Oh, do you mean the houses behind St James's Terrace? Yeah, I mean, look, the houses behind, again, we don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, I should imagine. But they'll have the best people on that job. Good old Belgium, says Jan, absolutely. Yeah, it's not because it's anti-competitive, says Derek, because it's restriction of trade. Absolutely, it is. It's like, I mean, look, we could say, like, you've got a supermarket. Say you've got Sainsbury's, and it's the only supermarket in that area. But all of a sudden you want Aldi to move. Aldi want to move in there, but Sainsbury's would say, no, we don't want it. We don't want any competition. It's a bit like the Premier League. They're just anti-competitive. Tony Ross says, if FFP doesn't change, we will all lose the best players. Yeah, we will. And that's the thing. FFP will be gone 3 to 3 weeks time anyway, says Jan. Well, I think there'll be some changes. Thank you very much, Tony Ross. He's donated 5 memberships. Thank you very much indeed for your generosity. So thank you again to Tony Ross for that. And we'll have a look who the new members are, and we'll let everybody know who's become a new member, thanks to Tony Ross as well. So the members that have become members are the 12th Man Toon, All the Pies, who was a great lad, by the way, the Toon Review, Paul, Sportmanic, and Pete WW. So thank you very much again, Tony Ross, for that. Right. Tristan says, would you rather stay and change the name and move and call it James Park? I would rather stay at St James's Park, because like I've said before, if we moved, just say we moved up the road to Gosforth or whatever, right, and we moved the stadium there, the centre of Newcastle United is going to be a ghost town on a Saturday. You're going to only have the shoppers there, and you won't have the fans coming in who are spending their money. When you think the pubs, the restaurants, the betting shops, the smaller shops, because sometimes football fans come with their families, so they come up with their wives and that, or girlfriends, partners, whatever. And then if they're going off to the match, their partners might say, oh, we're going to go shopping for the afternoon. So they'll go shopping and they'll be spending their money in the shops. So if you took the stadium out in Newcastle, out the city centre, I don't think it works. So the stadium's got to stay in the city centre for all that, for me. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. We just have to accept it. Derek says, even if St James's Park's not in corporate name, it doesn't matter. A damn to me, just get the money in. Yeah, definitely. What if the sun shining through the glass sets a building on fire, says Gary. God. Good point, that. Tristan says, I don't think fans know this mean there is no 105 million over 3 years to lose in Europe. Don't have that in their FFP. Yeah. It's 70% wages, isn't it, in FFP over there. Billy says, can the clubs not have their own TV channels for people to subscribe and watch every game instead of having to pay Sky or TNT? Or is this not permitted? There is a UEFA rule where, well, look, when Newcastle played, I think it was last season when we played Atlanta at home, and that was a 3 o'clock kickoff. Was it Atlanta on the Saturday? I can't remember now. I think it was. No, Atlanta was on the Friday, wasn't it? So it was Athletic Bilbao on the Saturday, wasn't it? We played them in the friendly 3 p.m. kickoff. But in the UK, we couldn't watch that game because of the UEFA ruling. So what a lot of people did, including myself, we managed to watch it on the Newcastle website, but what you had to do was you had to have a VPN. So you had to put your VPN. I put my VPN to the United States. So I thought I was in the US. So I was able to watch that game. Yeah, there's a UEFA ruling that we can't watch 3 p.m. games, which is strange. Thanks, Tony Ross. Julie says, FFP won't be gone, just making it in with the UEFA version. Yeah, definitely. Welcome new members as well, says Julie. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Another point I want to discuss as well, and you see a lot of this online at the moment with the fans. Now, if things aren't going right on the pitch, or if players aren't playing well, or whatever, people don't want to sort of criticise, because as soon as you say something wrong, there'll be somebody who'll jump on top of you, and it's like, whoa. So what I mean is, it's like, if you want to have your opinions after a game, so if you've got an opinion on a player, Eddie Howe, whatever, people feel they can't say their opinions because they'll end up having people commenting on them and telling them that they're in the wrong and they're a plastic fan and all this, and And look, at the end of the day, I think people should be entitled to their own opinions. Now, if, say, for instance, now look, I'm not too critical of Eddie Howe because I back Eddie Howe, but especially when you're on X, if we could have prevented a goal or two somewhere, and we could, like, say, for instance, if we go back to the Everton game when Trippier made his first mistake, and then Trippier made a second mistake, right? But when he made the first mistake, I was shouting, come on, get him off, get him off. And then he made another mistake. And I think after that game, I saw somebody put on Twitter saying Eddie Howe should have got him off after the first one. And somebody said, oh, so you're a better coach than Eddie Howe, so you know what you're talking about. No. And I'm like, what on earth is going on here? And then you had people just absolutely laugh. This guy ended up deleting his tweet eventually because he must have just got sick of it, and you can't blame him. And that's the problem with some of the fan base now, I feel, because look, it's like you're not allowed to criticise Eddie Howe. You're not allowed to criticise players because we're a club on the up. But the way I look at it is, right, it's not we're being critical, it's just what we're seeing when we're watching these games. Now, if you go back to when the Fat Controller was in charge, when we had Cabbage Heat Bruce as manager, and we had some of the players that are still playing in the squad now under him, we used to criticise them players. We used to criticise the manager. Was there any fans out there shouting at us, oh, don't criticise Steve Bruce, he's a great manager. Don't criticise the owner, he's doing a good job. No, there weren't. Because everybody was criticising them. Since the takeover, and I've said this quite a lot. Since the takeover, I've seen our fan base get very toxic at times, and I don't know why it has turned that way. Is this because some fans have jumped on board? And I'm not saying for 1 minute, but you do get it once. I think we saw it with Man City when they were taking over, a lot of fans jumping on to Man City and things like that. I mean, if you talk to any true Newcastle fan, we'll all see how it is. I mean, look, years ago, he's talking to pubs and say, he's sitting in the pubs and talk and say, oh, look, such and such didn't have a great game today, but this was good, but that wasn't great, and that player shouldn't have played today, should have been, and that's the thing. That's the way people used to go on. But now, it's just so toxic. Like last week, Dan Burn's a good centre-back, but as a left-back, he was getting outpaced last week by Ogbenny, and I could see that in the first half. And so I was thinking to myself, and I'm thinking, right, come on, Eddie, take him off at half-time and put Livramento on just to even it up a bit on the left-hand side, because Ogbenny is taking Burn apart here. And then we saw the part, when he was taken apart, he pulls him down in the area and ends up giving away a penalty. Now, look, if you had someone like Livramento playing in that position, yes, Dan Burn's great for his height, and he had a great season last season, and he's done okay this season. I think when he got that back injury against Arsenal, I think he's lost a little bit of pace, if I'm honest. But if you go on there and say Eddie got his substitutions wrong, people jump on you and have a go at you, and it's like, well, no, hang on. I'm being realistic here, and I've always said I'll be realistic. Like last week when I'd done the pre-match and I'd done the match preview, and I said, look, Luton will be a tough team. And there was people in the chat said we'll win 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-0. And I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we only win 2-0. We didn't win 2-0, we drew 4-4. Because teams like Luton Town, you don't underestimate them. And if anybody's done anything wrong, if a player's done something wrong, or a manager's done something wrong, or whatever, you're going to criticise. And you should be allowed to have criticism. And that's what it's all part of. That's where it forms your opinions. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it with some parts of the fan base now, where you feel as if you see anything wrong, that's it, boom, That's why I tend not to comment on things on Twitter. I look through things on there, and I just think I'm not going to comment, because look, if I do, I'm going to get, I'm going to get jumped on here if I do. So I just sort of like just sit back and I just look at it and I just watch the fireworks kicking off, and I think, half of these fans, why don't they go back to pre-takeover and see where we were, and how things were. I mean, we keep getting that thrown up as well. But that's another thing. When things like this happen, we've just had a lot of this toxicity in the fan base since the takeover. So, it could be Mackham's being toxic in the, we don't know. That's the thing. Anybody can set up a Twitter account, put a profile picture of a Newcastle player or whatever, call ourselves NUFC, something, and just be a troll. And yes, okay, I get there's a lot of that in there. But, if as I say, if I'm going to be critical about even the coaching staff for something, I've been critical about the medical staff. Now, I did put something on Twitter, somebody's account, and I said, yes, the medical staff need to be sacked off in the summer, and we need to get a new medical team in, because I think these are rushing players back too quickly. And somebody jumped on me and said, oh, here we go, somebody wants rid of the medical team now, you know. And I said, no. I said, but there's a reason why. I says, look at the players that are combating and are getting injured, you know. And I just don't get it, you know. I mean, I've supported this club over 40 years, since I was 10-year-old. And do you know what? This is the first time I've really seen this fan base be so toxic since the takeover. And I just don't get it. You know, why aren't we allowed to be critical? You know, if Bruno has a bad game, can we not be critical and say, oh, well, actually, Bruno had a bad game, you know? You can't, because if you do, you'll be jumped on straight away, you know? I mean, Longstaff scores 2 goals last weekend, but didn't have the greatest game by any chance, you know? He faded. So, look, this is what I'm saying. You know, sometimes you've got to give criticism, but that's what it's all about. It's all about opinions, and I've always said this. You know, if people have got their own opinions, I might say something people don't agree with, but that's fine, because that's what it's about. That's my opinion, and they've got their opinion. I respect their opinions, and they probably respect my opinions, and that's what it is at the end of the day. So, you know, I just don't get why we've got so many toxic fans. I'm not saying all the fan base is toxic, by the way. I'm just saying some parts of it is. And especially when you go on Twitter, that is just an absolute minefield. And that's why I say I don't even bother commenting now, because it's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle, you know. And but I just wanted to put that out there. And I just wanted to say, look, surely we are allowed to be a little bit critical at times, if anybody, you know, if things don't go right or whatever, we are allowed to be critical at the end of the day. And, you know, we're all big supporters of the Toon at the end of the day, and we just want what's best for Newcastle United. And, you know, as I say, we used to do it in the pubs, you know. Right, just going to quickly go into some comments here. PSR FFP, something that the Prem set up not to go bankrupt. Yeah. Wouldn't have a show with no opinions. No, absolutely not. You know, if, like I say, if somebody has an off day or doesn't play well or whatever, I'm going to say that player's not played well. And I don't care if somebody comes on here, like for instance, when I said, look, we do need to upgrade on Mickey Almiron, you know. When we went to Saudi Arabia, we saw the Miggy fan club come out and say, oh, no, you can't sell Miggy. He plays with a smile on his face. Yes, Miggy plays with a smile on his face. But does that smile on Miggy's face bring us goals? Does that score us goals? No. Does that get us assists? No. It's his feet that get the goals. It's his feet that get the assists. And we're not seeing it from Miggy, you know. I want to see him on the left playing well, but I don't think he's played that well. He had that great game against Man U on the left, but he hasn't been the same since. So I don't know. Maybe because he hasn't got that understanding with Trippier. You know, you just got to... It is just absolutely crazy. Derek says Saudis can build a super stadium like the Mercedes-Benz, surround it with a hotel, conference centre, franchise food and drink outlets, which would also be getting huge cash from. Yeah, could well do as well, Derek. Jake says you can have opinions, but people go too far, like with Burn, people saying he shouldn't play again. Look, I've not said he shouldn't play again. All I said was maybe he needed a bit of help. you know. But then, you know, that's what I'm saying. He's just, yeah. Tony, I'm off to work, mate. Have a good night. Yeah, you too, Tristan. Cheers, mate. Derek says just a matter of time before we'll be able to get every match live. Yeah. I mean, look, back in the 90s, guys floated the idea of doing like a season ticket. So basically what that was you could buy a subscription and you could watch your team every game all season, paying a monthly fee. Now, I was all for that. I thought that's great, but then it all got scrapped. But hopefully one day something like that will happen. Billy says most people have the opinion Dan Burn is too slow to play at left back and that he leaves him on the pitch too long when it's obvious teams are targeting his position. Some fans can't see it. That's the thing, Billy. And look, the thing is, but it's not just, I mean, look, obviously it's not just Dan Burn, it's other players as well. And sometimes Eddie reacts too slow to bring players off, you know. And he needs to stop being more proactive and looking and thinking, right, okay, I'm not happy with this. I need to make a change now, you know. Not thinking, oh, well, I'll leave them another 10 minutes because that could be too late, you know. If he'd been proactive with Kieran Trippier against Everton when we conceded the first goal, they may not have got that second goal. They may not have even gone on and won 3-0. We could have turned that around and possibly got a draw or maybe a win. Who knows? And that's a thing, you know. So, and we know at the time that was the start of his downturn in form. People are jumping on Dan Burns' back. Alan says, all I hear on Twitter is grief and toxicity. Don't know why you bother with it, Tony. I put out there because I just put my shows out there, mainly, and just to keep up to date with Newcastle United. And I've got some friends there that I talk to as well. But other than that, yeah, that's the main thing I put out there for, and I just advertise the shows out there as well. But yeah, I don't engage too much in people's conversations because it's no good because you'll never win. People go from one extreme to another, win a game, and Eddie has great tactics, then we lose, and they're out saying he's got no plan B. Yeah, absolutely, Jake. When he took Big Dan Burn off on Saturday, Tino got skinned in the last minute by Ogbeni and they should have scored from his pull. Yes, he did. Yes, you're absolutely right, Derek. He did. And he put it down. He just shoved it down to Vravka's throat, didn't he, that ball? If he had it pushed that across goal or something, it could have been they could have won that 5-4. Lee says Ashley and Bruce wrecked the club. New management, Eddie has done brilliant, but some of the players need to be a sub or a lot sooner or later. Play Tino and Barnes and start lineup, says Lee. That's fair enough, Lee. I mean, look, the thing is that we know there's a lot of players in that team need to leave in the summer. Gary says, Tony, let them beat themselves. They'll always be right and know best, but take no notice of them. It doesn't matter. I don't take no notice of them, Gary. I can get on with it, mate. I just look and I just think, half of them don't have a clue what they're on about. Medical team messed up with Botman, Barnes, Murphy and Willock delaying these returns. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bia. I care what Twitter says Alan. Yeah, definitely. They're toxic because they don't have the brain. They don't have the brains to be anything else, mate. Sadly, says Gary. Yeah. Nobody ever had a problem criticising more. Jeff the legend. You don't have to explain yourself. Chill out, mate. No, I'm just saying. Look, I'm saying it. I've heard Paul say it on Toon Review as well. You know, it's like you're not allowed to have any criticism, and that's the thing. And it's sad when it's like that. It really is. Yes, we all have different opinions, but that's what made the debate interesting. Definitely. Dan Burn shouldn't play when the opposition has pacey wingers. Yeah, I agree. I think he's lost a bit. I do honestly think he's lost a little bit of pace since he had that back injury against Arsenal. I pay $20 a month, Australian dollars a month, sorry, to get every Premier League game. Nice one, Matt. That's not bad, is it? No Joe Linton in midfield highlights Burns' weaknesses more. Yeah, we're missing GS7 as well. I mean, he's out for the season, isn't he? So I'm not jumping on Dan Burns' back. It's too high, says Bia. He's a tall guy. I don't engage that much on Twitter either. In analysis, yeah, I watch every game. You can't get every game now, but just see you can get every game now. Just need to cross access. Yeah, absolutely, Alan. Look, you know, at the end of the day, as I say, it's all about opinions. I mean, in the summer, there's going to be players going out the door. Obviously, it looks like Jamal Lascelles will stay now till the summer because Besiktas are looking at signing Joe Worrell on loan from Nottingham Forest till the end of the season because he's got a contract in 2026. Because apparently they still tried to get Jamal Lascelles on a free, and Newcastle said no, we want $3 million. So it looks like Lascelles is now staying till the summer. But they reckon Besiktas will come back in the summer for Lascelles. So maybe they've got something. Maybe he's done a pre-contract agreement with them. Who knows? Because technically, Lascelles can do a pre-contract agreement with them now. So yeah, you know, let's see what happens. There'll definitely be players having to go out in the summer. You know, the likes of Paul Dummett, and that was another thing I had. You know, I mean, look, I said Paul Dummett has to go, and we should have took the 500,000 from him, to be honest with you. But again, you see that on Twitter, and there's people on there. Oh no, you can't get rid of Dummett. He's good around the dressing room. He's good around. Yes, but we could have had $500,000 from him, and had his we could have had $500,000 from him, and got his wages off. But no, we keep him. And that, I mean, if he doesn't play now between now and May, then we've missed out on money. You know, we could have brought it into the club. Coffee says, hi, Tony and all. Hi, Coffee. Hope you're well. Andrew says, SARS 97 shows on at the same time. Channel up in like a loon. Yeah, it's never a good time, is it, mate? Hope you and yours are well, Tony. Yeah, absolutely fine, mate. Cheers. Bia says, Emil Kraft offered a 1-year extension. Oh, brilliant. Do you know what? I would keep him. Because, look, I think when he came and he took over for Trippier for a bit, I thought he played quite well, to be fair. And he can play centre-back as well. So, who knows? But it all depends if Kraft wants to stay. He might just say, do you know what? He might say, I want to move on in the summer. And that's fair enough if he does. Do you think Kraft would make a good 6? I don't know. Glad Kraft got an extension and proved much on already how. Has he actually signed an extension, or is he just been offered it but hasn't accepted it yet? Because if that's the case, then because I've not seen nothing if he's actually signed anything. But if he does stay, then that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But in the summer, we need to upgrade on some players. We need a right winger. Or do you go, the fact is, we do need another right winger in. We keep seeing these reports saying, oh, we're linked with Rafael Leao. Look, Rafael Leao will not be coming to Newcastle United in the summer. So all these newspaper outlets are putting it out there, these media people, he's got £150 million release clause in his contract. Where the hell are our club going to pull out? Well, yes, we can pull that sort of money out, but we got to go by the rules and we can't just pull it out. You know, if there was no FFP, then I would expect the club to go out and pay massive fees for players. But that's the thing, we can't. We've got to abide by the rules. He hasn't signed yet. Many Swedish want him on a 3, though. That's the thing again. anybody who's out of contract in the summer can talk with clubs abroad, and who knows, he may want to go back home to Sweden and see his days out. We don't know, but we'll just have to see what happens. Billy the Fish says, I think this will be Wilson's last season of the club. I think so. I mean, look, if we're already got a price tag on him, he'll have a year left on his deal. I think you sell him in the summer, and we'll get a replacement in for him. And look, he's been great for us, Wilson, but too many injuries, unfortunately. If he stays fit between now and the end of the season and scores a few goals, then I'm sure there'll be clubs in the summer queuing up for him. And if it's a club abroad, he may even go abroad. Right winger and a forward, says Alan. Yeah, definitely. Kraft reads the game well, as a good tackler and strong. I think he'd make a great DCM. Yeah, he could well do, Gary. I predict 3-0 Newcastle. Mafinho bullet shot, deflected goal. Bruno at the box volley, and second half sub Lewis Hall ziggy-zaggy run and nutmeg the goalkeeper to score. I always love Coffee when he does this, because I just love the way you put you put it in how exactly the goals are going to go in, or how you think they're going to go in. Yeah, it just brings a smile to my face, and I think everybody else in the chat as well. For Coffee. The only thing is, I don't think Lewis Hall would make an appearance, will he? That's another strange decision. Is it because we don't want to trigger anything and we want to send him back to Chelsea? That's what I'm thinking. Is it Eddie Howe who's not keen on Lewis Hall? And he wasn't brought in by Eddie Howe. Obviously, he was probably brought in by Dan Ashworth. So I don't know. I'm just going to go and have a look at the vote in the chat and see how the vote's going. So the vote tonight was, would you like to see the blue card in the game? And I'm going to end that vote in a moment. 6% said yes, and 94% have said no. So the majority are saying no to the blue card. Leao and Benzema, please, says Jake. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would have took Benzema on loan. I'm surprised we did not exploit the Saudi market. Now look, Man City are interested in the player, Savio, and it happens to be part of one of their clubs. But has anybody come out and had a go at Man City over this? No, they haven't. Strange, isn't it? Julie says, agree, could be Wilson's last season. I think it could be, Julie. I think he goes in the summer. He might even want to try his luck abroad. So if a club comes in abroad, see Atletico Madrid have the money and they come back in the summer for him, I think he'd be gone. I think he'd go there. And do you know what? I wouldn't have a problem with that. I really wouldn't. And it looks like, Chelsea beat Villa last night 3-1. And it looks like teams have watched how we played against Villa. Maybe Emery's being found out now. Ronald says, am I wrong with some of the channels stating we need a CDM, but I think Eddie Howe doesn't want someone sitting in his formation. It does me heat in. Look, Ronald, we could do with a CDM, to be honest with you. You want somebody who can protect that back four, but you can still play that formation and have somebody doing that. So, yeah. Billy the Fish is a proper number 6, desperate needed. Tonali wasn't signed as a defensive midfielder. Look, the thing is, everybody knows who my number 1 target would be. If I could talk to the owners in Newcastle and they said to me, who do you think would be the perfect DM for us? I would say, there you go. There's your man. Manu Kone, Borussia Mönchengladbach, 22-year-old Frenchman. Fantastic. Fantastic defensive midfielder who can create as well. And I'll tell you what, he would go well in our team. He would be fantastic for us. This lad can play. He seriously can play. So without a doubt, I would say go and get him in the summer, because I really would love to see this guy in Newcastle United. Having seen him live in front of my own eyes, fantastic player. He's got a massive future ahead of him as well. Chris says, we'll be first. Let's hope so, Chris. Let's hope so, mate. Tony Blue Card, the 6%, 10 minutes out of the chat. Yeah. Blackburn manager Thomason could be gone before we play them, as he's had a row with the owners. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Let's hope they don't bring Allardyce in. Ronald is right. Eddie wants 3 dynamic midfielders who press. Yeah. When someone sits, it gives an easy out to those being pressed. Is that Maxi's son, says Jake? No, it's not Maxi's son. No. But he is one hell of a player, by the way. He really is. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer, that's for sure. Just things to say that tomorrow I'm going to do the match preview. So I'm hoping I've got somebody from Nottingham Forest coming on as well. So I'm just waiting for them to get back to me. So I'm going to do the preview tomorrow. That'll be around about 8 p.m. Then on Saturday, there'll be the pre-match show, as usual. So that will be at around, it's a 5:30 kickoff. So that'll be about 4 p.m. on Saturday for the pre-match. But one thing I'm going to bring back to the channel, because I did have it when I first started the channel back in 2022, and then I took it off after a few weeks because at the time there wasn't a lot of viewers, didn't have a lot of people subscribing at the time. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back the fan zone. And what the fan zone is, basically, it's a bit like a fans forum. But I don't call it the fans forum, I call it the fan zone, because I want something different from other channels. I know there's a lot of channels out there call them fans forum, but the reason I'm calling it the fan zone is because I want it totally different from everybody else. So I'm going to possibly bring that back. So hopefully that can kick on and be a success, and we'll have a weekly one of the fan zone every week. I'll try and pick a nominated day, as long as we're not playing on that day. If we are, obviously that would be moved back or forward. But the fan zone, that will then be open, so you can click, you can come into the studio and talk. If you're not one to be on camera, you can stay behind the camera. You can just hide the camera and you can stay behind there, and you can have your say on all things Newcastle United. So look, lots to look forward to. I was asked that by Derek, who comes in the chat, the mighty Wayne. He said, why don't you do one? I said, well, I did do one. I said, but it didn't seem successful, but I'm going to do one again. So hopefully it'll be a lot more better this time as well, because now the channel has grown. Lee says, fantastic show tonight and everyone's spot on. Cheers, Lee. Great of our former transfer target. Tierney has missed 12 games this season and was out for 70 days. Glad we did go for him, says Coffee. I remember Makelele. He was a superb CDM, made Chelsea virtually unbeatable. Yes, he did. I didn't say he needs Caesar sitting midfield as a priority. I've seen no evidence on that. He does, says Ronald. Yeah. Matt says, great show. Tony and chat has cheers, Matt. Thanks very much indeed. Yeah, if you have liked what you've seen, you haven't yet smashed that like, please do. It does help the channel, so please do give it a like. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, come and smash the subscribe. Come be part of this great community we have here. And also by hitting that bell notification, that tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows as well. And as I say, if you want to become a member, it's 99p. You can do that by clicking the join button. And as always, if you want to make a donation, you can do that in the chat by clicking on the $sign as well. So there we go, guys and girls. And again, thank you to Tony Ross, who donated 5 black and white memberships tonight as well. So as I say, if anybody watches the American Magpie, I will be on there at 10 p.m. tonight. So I'll be on there with Chris for the match preview. So if you're planning on watching that, that's where I'll be. So flick over to there. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, I say to you, go and give him a subscribe. He's a really nice guy, Chris. And he did have Nobby Solano on last night. And I believe he's got Warren Barton tomorrow. So there we go. So there's a couple of good shows there for you. Some of the people in it, some of my viewers from the chat have already come over to there as well. So I've brought some of them over to Chris as well. And if you haven't checked his channel, go and check out the American Magpie. Give it a look. Right. Let's go into some final comments. Gattuso was awesome as well. Yeah, he was. Great show, Tony. Cheers, Ian. Thank you very much. Bye, Tony. No, bye to you. Cheers, Derek. Thanks, mate. I'll probably see you on American Magpie later. Bye. Bye to you, Alan. Cheers, mate. Take care, all. Gary says it's going to be interesting to see the team Eddie eventually settles for in a couple of years. It could be unbelievable. People shouldn't be stuck in now. No, the thing is, it's because of the transfers. That's why. But you know what? Let's see what happens in the summer. Great show, Tony. Next time, and all in the chat. Cheers, Wayne. Thank you, mate. Great show, Tony. Cheers, Julie. Thank you very much. And yeah. But as I always say, remember the future's bright. The future is definitely black and white. And enjoy the rest of the evening, whatever you're doing. But if you are watching American Magpie, I'm on there at 10 o'clock. Till then, I'll see you all later. And I'm back tomorrow with the match preview at 8 p.m. and then the pre-match at 4 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. Till then, take care. Enjoy the evening. How are you, the lads?